Alright, so Apple just announced the new iPhone 16 lineup and they released four new phones: the iPhone 16, 16 Plus, 16 Pro, and 16 Pro Max. Apple has introduced some really cool features with these phones and we'll talk about them in this video. Google has also recently launched the Pixel 9 series, and I think it's fair to say that iPhones are getting tough competition from the Pixel 9 as well as the Samsung Galaxy S24 Ultra. So the obvious question is, should you even buy the iPhone 16? Well, let's find out. First of all, let's talk about the design. Apple has modified the camera bump. The cameras are now stacked vertically, one on top of the other. If you remember the design of the iPhone 15, the cameras were placed diagonally, but they have changed that now, and to be honest with you, I like this new design. The color options are really cool as well, but you only get these new colors with the iPhone 16. The 16 Pro comes with the usual boring colors. The screen is bigger than last year's models and the bezels are also much thinner. Now let's talk about one of the most exciting new features: camera control. This is kind of like a game changer for photographers. I'll explain how it works. So camera control is basically a physical button on the side of your iPhone that controls the camera. If you press it once, it will launch the camera app, and then if you press this button again, it will show you a bunch of options and you can quickly adjust settings like exposure, zoom, camera styles and tone. You can also use this button to quickly switch between the main camera, the ultra wide camera and the zoom camera. It looks like a very simple button, but what's really impressive is that Apple has added so many camera related functionalities into it. It makes your life a lot easier. It feels as if you're using a DSLR camera. And both the iPhone 16 and the Pro version get this feature, which is really nice. Speaking of buttons, there's another button called the Action button. Now this feature was already present in the iPhone 15s, but only the Pro versions had it. That is the iPhone 15 Pro and the 15 Pro Max. The normal versions, the iPhone 15 and the iPhone 15 Plus, did not have this button. But now all of them have this button. Now if you don't know what the Action button is, let me help you. So the Action button is basically like a shortcut. It can do a lot of things. By default, it acts like a mute button, so if you press it once, your phone goes on silent. But if you want to change it, you can do that too. You can use this button to launch apps, play music, message someone, set timers and alarms, or control smart devices like lights and speakers. I haven't talked about AI features, right? Well, the thing is, the iPhone 16 does not have AI features yet. I know, it's disappointing. Apple is going to roll out AI features next month as part of a software update. And Apple doesn't call them AI features, they call it Apple Intelligence. So what exactly is Apple Intelligence? It's basically a bunch of AI features, things like writing tools which will help you write emails or check for grammar and spelling mistakes. Or if you're reading something on your phone and it's too long, Apple Intelligence can summarize it for you. There's this smart reply feature as well. Apple has also given Siri a new look, and if you want, you can also type questions now. You also get a cleanup feature which is very similar to the magic eraser on the Google Pixel. This feature allows you to remove unwanted objects from your photos. You can record phone calls and convert them into text as well. There are some other cool AI features as well, like visual intelligence and Genmoji, but Apple says that these features will be arriving later. One more interesting thing: when you look at older iPhones like the iPhone 13, iPhone 14 and iPhone 15, there's a lot of difference between their normal versions and Pro versions. Like take the iPhone 15 for example. The iPhone 15 has an A16 Bionic chip. On the other hand, the iPhone 15 Pro has an A17 Pro. Both phones have the same main camera as well as the same ultra wide camera, but the iPhone 15 Pro also has a 12 megapixel telephoto camera, which is something that you don't get with the iPhone 15. The display on the 15 Pro has a refresh rate of 120Hz, while the iPhone 15 only has 16Hz. The 15 Pro has an Action button, which is missing from the iPhone 15. The iPhone 15 Pro has a titanium frame, while the iPhone 15 has an aluminum frame. So there are a lot of differences, and if you wanted to buy the iPhone 15 Pro, it kind of made sense because maybe you want a more powerful processor or maybe you want the Action button. Now look at this comparison: the iPhone 16 versus the iPhone 16 Pro. The iPhone 16 has an A18 chip while the 16 Pro comes with the A18 Pro chipset. Now, these chips have different names, but in reality, there's not a lot of difference between them. The A18 Pro has a slightly better Geekbench score, about 18 to 20% higher than the A18, but you're not going to notice this difference in everyday usage. Maybe if you're doing like very heavy editing, which I don't think you're going to do on a smartphone, or hardcore gaming, that's when you're going to notice a slight difference. What really disappointed me is that the iPhone 16 has a 60Hz display and the 16 Pro has 120Hz. It's crazy that even in 2024 they are not giving you a 120Hz refresh rate wala display on the normal iPhone, but it is what it is. Both these phones are going to get Apple Intelligence. Both phones have action buttons and camera control as well. And of course, the Pro version has a titanium finish while the normal version has an aluminum finish. And to be honest, it totally makes sense to go with the iPhone 16 instead of the 16 Pro because it has almost the same features as the 16 Pro for a lower price tag. And the colors are so fucking cool as well, but that's just my opinion. I think I'm going to wrap up this video here. I have covered everything there is to know about this phone. I know I haven't talked about the camera, but we'll leave that for the full review. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.